Ever since Legendary Shard's been nuked out of the game, Glimmer has now become the most, if not the most vital currency in Destiny 2. And if this most recent Iron Banner has shown us anything, is that when focusing weapons like Tenacious Mastery, Glimmer runs out pretty fast. The issue tends to be that we run out of Glimmer before we run out of engrams, so what we need to do is find a way to replenish our Glimmer reserves just as fast as we burn through them. In this video, I'll be going over some known and lesser known ways to obtain Glimmer. Be aware, some of these methods do require purchasing the Final Shape expansion, and also having access to the episodic content that comes with it. But rest assured, in this video, there will also be ways to earn Glimmer for non-expansion owners. Before getting started, two things you should always have active while farming Glimmer is 1. The Ultimate Glimmer Booster mod on your Go Shell, and 2. A Glimmer Tonic to consume from this current episode Revenant. Something worth noting is that the Glimmer Tonic can be earned from completing all the Act 1 fieldworks from this episode Revenant. Anyways, let's get into it. By far, the best way to farm Glimmer quickly is this first method, Breach Executable. Breach Executable is an activity that dropped in Act 1 of episode Echoes, and this activity is something that can be completed in very little time. Usually, a run of Breach Executable will set you back around 10 minutes or so. It can go faster depending on who you are running it with, but usually 10 minutes is around the time it takes to complete this activity. Now, the thing you'll want to focus on when playing Breach Executable is gathering the data that drops from doing the various objectives of the mode and killing the ads. Once you have maxed out your data collection meter, you'll want to bring it back to the bank that failsafe marks for you on the HUD. Each time you do this, you'll receive around 7,000 Glimmer. Something that helps the process of collecting data easier is running Powerful Attraction on your character's class item. Each time you use your class ability, you will suck up all the nearby surrounding data, making it overall easier to collect data so you don't have to run over each individual drop. Now, you should be making this your main objective that you focus on while playing Breach Executable. Before the game ends, you will have banked around 10 to 12 times, maybe more. This alongside killing ads, opening resource nodes, chests, and etc. And by the time you hit the end result screen, you will see the Glimmer profits rack up. A good run of Breach Executable will net you around anywhere from 100 to 125,000 per match, and that is in only around 10 minutes. So, with that math, around 4 or so runs, this should put you close to the cap of 500,000. So within an hour, you'll be back to full Glimmer and you're able to get back to focusing your gear. Another method I have is for Final Shape owners. All you have to do is just load up into the Pale Heart and play the active Overthrow. Not only will you be getting Glimmer passively from opening the chests, resource nodes, and objectives, but you can also farm some Ergo Sum rolls and get the exotic class item as well. Once again, while running this, you want to have on an Ultimate Glimmer Booster mod and the Glimmer Tonic. Now, this method isn't as fast as Breach Executable, but you could still get anywhere from around 40 to 60,000 Glimmer per run. And you're also being able to get some good rolls on the exotics that drop from this activity. Overthrow is an escalating public event, so each time that you complete a micro event, it adds up to the overall level, making the enemies tougher, and it'll eventually lead to a boss fight at the end. Each time you complete a micro event, which is marked on the HUD with the public event icon, you will get around 7,000 Glimmer. While doing this, you will also want to grab chests and the resource nodes that litter the map. Of course, running this activity with friends will make it go faster, so you can evenly split up and tackle the various objectives of Overthrow. If you don't have anyone to run this activity with, it's okay. You just can load into the matchmaking queue and begin farming that way as well. Now, this next method is for all my free-to-play players who don't have access to premium content. There is nothing new or recently discovered, but this is the best way to obtain Glimmer without the expansions or episodes. All you have to do is just load into a destination and begin farming public events. Every public event in each destination has specific triggers on them to activate that will make the public event heroic. And these triggers are something as easy as shooting down a Thresher while capturing the zone, or shooting a little side drill before you kill all the enemies. Making the event heroic will drop more Glimmer at the end versus just running it normally. Once Echoes is out of the game, I imagine this will be a method for a lot of players to revert back to if they don't do Overthrow. Now, not only do I recommend using a Glimmer booster for this, but something that you should also be using is a mod called Wombo Detector. Now, while hopping in between different landing zones and activities, you can be opening the destination chest and the resource nodes for additional Glimmer. Each node and chest can give around 700 to 900 Glimmer, and it doesn't seem like much at the start, but you couple that with the public event activity and patrol completions, and you can begin yourself a lot of Glimmer. Each public event completion gives around 15,000 Glimmer. Every activity throughout the game gives Glimmer, but after the update that Bungie did to public events, it seems like Bungie wants us to do public events as the main direct source for Glimmer farming. While I farm Glimmer this way, I tend to go to EDZ or Nessus because these destinations tend to have public events going on quite frequently compared to other destinations. Some public events like Cabal Excavation can be completed in rapid succession. If you complete one event, try to reload the landing zone instance, and if you're quick and lucky enough, there might be another excavation event happening. Okay, let's say you hit the Glimmer cap and are wanting to bank some Glimmer for the future, so you don't have to go out and farm when time comes. What can you do? There are actually many different things you can do. If you have the vault space for it, you can just stock up on raid go shells, legendary and exotic gear, and when it comes time, you can just dismantle them. This isn't the most efficient way to stockpile Glimmer, but it's still a way nonetheless. There are other options to stockpile Glimmer. You can convert 4 other currencies to Glimmer. They are upgrade modules, which personally I wouldn't even bother with since you need them for infusion, and you can only get about 2,500 Glimmer from them. Dark Fragments from the Dreaming City, Phantasmal Fragments from the Moon, and Here Always Pieces from Europa. Dark Fragments are earned from completing Pet Revenge bounties, doing incident challenges, and also blind well runs. But they cap at 200 and honestly aren't really worth it in the long run. Phantasmal Fragments are decent and can be found from killing nightmares around the system and the moon, but they don't drop as often, and the only other way to get them to drop more efficiently is just by doing Lectern bounties. Out of all the conversion currencies, the one I'd recommend the most would be Here Always Pieces. Assuming that you've completed all the leveling up for Varix on Europa, you can efficiently farm Here Always Pieces. Completing your first Lost Sector in an Eclipse Zone awards you with a big sum of pieces. Then farming public events and Lost Sectors in that area while making it a priority to get stasis kills and precision kills, you'll begin to see your Here Always Pieces build up. Also, since the most recent dungeon, Vespers Host, technically takes place on Europa despite being in space, you can actually farm the respawning ads in the first encounter for pieces as well. In conclusion, by far, the most efficient way to farm and get Glimmer is to play Breach Executable. After that, I would put Overthrow behind it, and if you don't have any of those options, your next best bet is just to grind public events. I hope going over some of these farming sources and ways that you can bank Glimmer for the future will help you guys keep your Glimmer gains up, so you spend less time running out of Glimmer before engrams when focusing your gear. If you found this video helpful in any way, please leave a like, it'd be very much appreciated. Anyways, I hope you all have a great time farming, and I'll see you in the next one.